Today we're demonstrating the cold press method of brewing. First, I'm going to make sure that we have everything we need. I have fresh whole bean coffee. Today I'll be using our Rex iced coffee. You want fresh, clean, filtered water, but not distilled. You want to make sure you have a little bit of mineral content in your water so that everything brews correctly. I want to have a grinder. We have a Maestro grinder from Baratza here. Although I've already pre-ground the coffee, just to make sure we're going to get this done efficiently. You'll want a cold brewer. Today I'm using the Filtron brew system. The appropriate filters for the brewer, we have our paper filter and sponge filter. A scale, I'm going to use that when I'm measuring the water out. And a water carafe or measuring cup, just to put the water in with. So make sure everything's clean and ready to go, which I did beforehand. And we'll get to brewing. So the first thing you do with the Filtron brewer is you put this little rubber stopper in the bottom of the brewer. Make sure it's in there snug. And you'll see it comes through the bottom. And then you're going to take the sponge filter, which I've pre-wet. You want to make sure it's wet. It will help it filter better. And put it down in the bottom of the filter here. And you're going to make sure that that little tab is up and the filter has a dome shape to it. Okay, and that's all in there nicely. I'm going to set this over here on the scale, and from here on out I'll be using this as my stand. This big paper filter, I'm going to put that down in the brewer. Just kind of make sure everything's nice and even and snug in there. It is a little larger than the brewer itself, so it's kind of tricky. Everything in there. Okay. Some people pre-wet these for the cold brewers to help stick to the side. I don't usually do that because I like to be able to adjust it a little after I put the coffee in. Next up, I'm going to take 1 pound of coffee and I'm going to put it in that paper filter. I use a fairly coarse grind to start with. You should go fairly coarse. You want something close to what you use for a coffee press. I like a little bit finer grind than that, but not too much, but you'll want to experiment and see what works best. Now go ahead and pour that into the paper filter, and this can be a little tricky. I'm going to make sure it's all in the filter and not in the brewery. Okay. So you can see now I have the coffee in the paper filter, and I've leveled it out so everything's nice and smooth in there. So the next step is you take this little piece of plastic, this is a grounds guard, and you want to slide it into that paper filter so it's sitting right on top of the coffee. But you want to try and not get too much on top of the filter itself or the grounds guard itself. Alright. And this is the water bowl. You can go ahead and set this on top of the brewer, like so. And this is where the scale is going to come into play. There are lines inside of this water bowl that'll give you a rough approximation of how much water you're going to use for 3/4 of a pound of coffee or for a pound of coffee. Today we're using a pound of coffee. But what I like to do is actually know the volume of water I'm using. So I'm going to put 64 ounces in here. That's roughly what it comes up to on that 1 pound line. And I did put 1 pound of coffee in. Now this water is cold. Make sure you use cold water with this and not hot. You're not trying to heat extract any of the coffee. You're really just letting it sit overnight and let the water do the work. And I'll get this in there and it will slowly brew. Now this is going to sit for 12 to 24 hours. It has to be at least 12 to get the right extraction. Beyond 24 and you'll get a bitter tasting concentrate. And I've almost got this thing full. Alright, now the water's in there, it's slowly going to drip through, and like I said, I'll come back and check it in 12 to 24 hours. I usually go on the shorter end of that, somewhere between 12 and 15 hours, and then I will make the concentrate into an iced beverage.